Imagine this. Your world is falling apart. You've just lost someone you love. You feel betrayed by people you trusted. Your plans have shattered. Your future feels uncertain and dark. Now ask yourself, what would Marcus Aurelius do? He wasn't just a Roman emperor. He was a man at war, with the world, with death, with pain, with himself. Yet, in his darkest moments, he didn't complain. He wrote. He reflected. He stood tall. This video is not about what you should do. It's about what he did, and how it can change your life today. If you've ever felt lost, broken, or overwhelmed, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we bring ancient wisdom to modern chaos, so you don't have to face it alone. Now let's get into it. Chapter 1. The storm is not personal. Most of us treat pain like a betrayal. We ask, why is this happening to me? But Marcus would have said, why not? He watched friends die from plague. He led an empire crumbling under war and famine. He saw his own children buried before him. And still, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let's break this down. He's not telling you to suppress your pain. He's telling you to stop personalizing it. Life is impersonal. The storm doesn't come for you. It just comes. But what you do inside the storm, that's where your power lives. Modern self-help says, control your reality. Marcus says, control your perception. He didn't say life was fair. He said, you can be strong even when it's not. This is not optimism, it's clarity, and it's your first tool. Chapter 2. Don't run from discomfort, run into it. In modern life, we avoid discomfort like it's poison. We scroll, we numb, we avoid hard conversations, we distract ourselves with pleasure, hoping the pain will dissolve. Marcus did the opposite. He woke up early, took cold baths, slept on the ground during military campaigns, fasted, endured. He trained for hardship. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is radical. It means pain is not what happens. Pain is how we interpret it. But here's the twist. Pain is not the enemy. It's the invitation to grow, to reflect, to become dangerous in the best way. Marcus didn't want to escape hardship. He wanted to become someone who could walk through it with grace and steel. And you can too. Chapter 3. The obstacle is the way, literally. We've heard this phrase so much, it feels like a cliché now. But for Marcus, it wasn't a catchphrase, it was his code. Every time something blocked his path, he didn't ask, how do I go around this? He asked, how do I become strong enough to go through this? When generals betrayed him, he kept leading. When Rome starved, he fed the people. When his own body failed him, he endured quietly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Let that sink in. The betrayal you experienced, the heartbreak, the failure, that's the way. It's not your punishment. It's your path. We tend to think, this shouldn't have happened. But the Stoic thinks, this happened. So now what? This shift is where power begins. It turns victims into warriors. Chapter 4. Don't seek happiness, seek clarity. When Marcus was emperor, he had access to every luxury, wealth, power, comfort. But he didn't trust happiness, he trusted clarity. It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. The modern world chases happiness like a drug, more comfort, more pleasure, more distraction. Marcus looked around and saw men losing themselves in status games and luxury. So he went the other way. He said, strip it all away. What remains? a clear mind, a calm soul, a man who cannot be broken by circumstance. That's what he built, and that's what you must build, especially in your darkest moments. Because when life takes everything, clarity is the only thing that can't be stolen. Chapter 5. Momentum Mori. Remember you will die. This isn't about being morbid, it's about waking up. Marcus wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He wasn't being dramatic, he was being real. Death wasn't a distant idea for him. It was in the air he breathed. It was beside him in every decision. It was the reminder. None of this is guaranteed. Why does that matter? Because when you remember death, you stop wasting life. You stop arguing about petty things. You stop waiting for the right time to change. You start living now, with urgency, with meaning. This is why, in the midst of plague and war, Marcus still wrote, still trained, still served. He knew time was a gift, and he refused to waste it. So what would he do in your darkest moment? He'd breathe. He'd reflect. He'd act, nobly, patiently, fiercely. Chapter 6. Stay with the work, not the outcome. One of the biggest lessons Marcus left behind was this: do the work, release the result. He was the most powerful man in the known world, but he couldn't control the outcomes of wars. He couldn't prevent betrayal. He couldn't stop death. What he could do: show up, lead with honor, write with clarity, think with integrity. Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is not what they do that matters, but what you do. That's the core of it. You don't control the betrayal. You don't control the disease. You don't control the recession. But you do control the effort. You control the response. You control the character you choose in that moment. You can still write. You can still build. You can still love. You can still lead. Marcus didn't escape his pain. He transmuted it into meaning, and you can do the same. Chapter 7. Silence is a strategy. Modern life is noisy. We argue to prove a point. We tweet to be seen. We react quickly to everything. Marcus, on the other hand, was silent by design. In the midst of attacks, rumors, and manipulation, he rarely responded with fury or defense. He responded with nothing. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. That line alone can change how you move through life. You don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. You don't need to convince the world of your goodness. You just need to live it. His silence wasn't weakness. It was power under control. And sometimes, in your darkest moments, the wisest move is stillness. Let your actions speak. Let your life defend you. Let the dust settle without kicking more into the air. Silence isn't the absence of power. It's the presence of discipline. The Chapter 8. Journal through the darkness. One of the greatest gifts Marcus gave us was his journal. He didn't intend for meditations to become a book. It was just him, writing to himself, wrestling with his demons. He didn't write when life was easy. He wrote because it was hard. We often wait until we're out of the storm to reflect. Marcus journaled inside the storm. That's the Stoic way. When life hurts, don't run. Write. Write down your fears, your anger, your doubts. But don't stop there. Write what kind of person you want to be in this pain. Ask yourself, if I were a philosopher right now, what would I choose? That's how you rise in the middle of a fall. You turn pain into paper, emotion into clarity, and over time, that becomes your inner weapon. Chapter 9. You are not your feelings. You are their master. In the modern world, we often hear this idea: feel your feelings. And yes, we should. But Marcus would remind us, feelings are not commands. They are signals, not orders. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. This isn't denial, it's discernment. When rage rises, pause. When grief floods, breathe. When fear screams, listen, but don't obey. You are the charioteer, not the horses. Let the emotions pass through, but don't let them take the reins. In your darkest moments, you will feel broken. But that feeling isn't the truth. It's just a wave. Let it crash. Let it go, and keep walking. You are the stillness beneath the storm. Chapter 10, Suffer Well. This may sound strange, but Marcus believed in this one idea deeply. If you must suffer, suffer well. Not dramatically, not loudly, but with dignity. That doesn't mean hiding your pain. It means carrying it like a warrior. He didn't pity himself. He didn't seek applause for enduring. He simply endured. To love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. Even in the worst moments, he looked for harmony. He chose to believe, this too belongs. This too is part of the path. And through that mindset, he found peace inside the chaos. What would Marcus Aurelius do in your worst moment? He would feel it fully. He would act nobly. He would love fate. And that's how he became unbreakable. Chapter 11. Legacy is built in darkness. You know what's wild? Marcus never wanted to be remembered. He didn't care about fame. He cared about living rightly. But here we are, 2,000 years later, still quoting his pain, still studying his reflections, still building our strength on top of his scars. That's what happens when you suffer well, when you live with integrity, even when no one is watching. When you build a philosophy instead of a facade. Marcus didn't plan for immortality. He just faced death every day and lived accordingly. And because of that, he outlived kings, conquerors, and celebrities. Legacy isn't built in spotlight, it's built in solitude, in struggle, in how you face what no one else sees. So let's ask again. You're in your darkest moment. Things are falling apart. You don't see a way out. What would Marcus Aurelius do? He wouldn't flinch. He wouldn't collapse. He would return to himself. He would write. He would reflect. He would breathe. He would act with justice, with courage, with humility. He wouldn't ask, why me? He'd ask, what will I do now? And that's the question waiting for you now. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. And if this spoke to you, subscribe. Not for motivation, but for clarity. We're not here to hype you up. We're here to arm your soul with the wisdom of the ancients. Because the modern world doesn't need more noise. It needs more stillness, more clarity, more men and women who suffer well and rise. Be one of them.